Then we can wait for like 2 more minutes to get started.
Huh?
Then we'll just wait for like 2 more minutes to get
Yeah.
started. It's crazy. We got shifted into a small room last week, and we had like 20-25 people show up, so everyone's just like crammed up.
Crammed in there? Oh man.
Half of them were standing as well.
Really?
So, yeah.
Awesome. Maybe missed it.
So you saw the picture of Frazier at Mark's?
Yeah.
I told her, I said, your uncle started at Mark's.
Well, I worked at a pizza shop before that, but
You were in another shop? Oh, I thought Mark's was the first one.
yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I said, the t-shirt and the hat looks exactly the same.
Yeah, it's the same
He
logo
did- He's never had to buy a different one, right?
since the 90s,
Yeah.
I think. Never realized how tall that tree is.
Alrighty, let's get started. So I'll go ahead, read our initial prayers. Om Ajnanatamiraddasya Jnanajalakshaya Chakshuram Unmelitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhisham Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadi Supadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sagana Raghunatam Vidantam Jivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakavitamsha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinubandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radha Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanusate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchaka Pataro Vyasha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Start with our kirtan. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine
Namaste Saraswati Deve What on earth is happening? It's just a swarm
Looks
of
like a
people.
marathon or something.
I
Yeah,
know.
probably.
There
I
was
was-
a Nerf battle or something. I saw bullets and people running around.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Plants vs. Zombies. Alright, that's what it is.
Oh, they have the bandanas too, so yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
yeah.
It looks fun.
I don't know, I was trying to pretend it was Christian and the Coward Boys and they're all running by. I'm trying to say, "Carry on, yeah. We're all coming home, where's the cows?"
Alrighty. So we're at the mother prayers. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari 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 Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Givaradhari 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 Yashodanandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Givaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Givaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Radha Madhav ki
Jai.
Okay. So since we're a relatively short group today, I figure there's no need of introductions, but we could just go ahead and like talk about how everyone's week's been. So we could start with you, Pranav, if you just want to talk about your week, and then let's go on from there.
So my week has been with assignments. That's it.
Assignments, pretty much.
Assignments and labs.
Ajinta?
Same assignments, lab work.
Mataji?
Yeah. my week
Anything
is-
new this week?
Yeah, it was a difficult week, it was alright, it's in the prayers, I had a friend and a resident who died suddenly overnight. We just got up in the day and went, oh, dog's dead. It's like, this is weird, his daughter found him and she had her baby with her, you know, it was just, and then we had the police there, and it's been a week. So it was a lot to do with it, and what's going on, makes you think about a lot of things, that helped a lot, but other than that, no, it was not too much drama in life, which I like. Got my rounds done, that's all. Yeah.
Prabhu?
Dirt and wood, saws and hammers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Building a house out in the canal right now. Big, like, part of it's cathedral, so there's like 24-foot tall walls,
Oh wow.
heavy wood.
I think you did mention to me the last time that you were about like starting a new project.
We just started it, yeah, we're on the second week. We're about to be to the roof, so.
Oh, no, thank you.
My week's been alright as well. Just research, OCD, ADHD, Charlie Kirk. That's all it is. Okay. So I think we stopped at. Do you recollect where we stopped at?
21 or 22.
I think we did more than that. Maybe 22, 23. Yeah. I was just telling Prabhu and Nataji about the discussions that we had last week and how intense it got at some point. Yeah.
Let's see what we missed.
I know. What verse? Where am I? Where are we going?
Oh, we're on 420.
22 maybe.
23 or 24.
23. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when we were
Good.
here, it was 419.
Let's try and remember.
I know I've missed it for a couple weeks here.
I think 24. Yeah, we start with 24 today. Okay, so I can get started. Everyone can just open it up on their phones, and I'll read 424. And so you can just repeat the Sanskrit line after me. Brahmarpanam Brahma Havir,
Brahmarpanam Brahmahavir.
Brahmagnao Brahmana Hudam,
Brahmagna Brahmana Hutam.
Brahmeva Tena Gantavyam,
Brahmaiva Tena Gantavyam.
Brahma Karma Samadhana.
Brahma Karma Samadhina.
A person who's fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness is sure to attain the spiritual kingdom because of his full contribution to spiritual activities, in which the consummation is absolute and that which is offered is of the same spiritual nature. Purport. How activities in Krishna consciousness can lead one ultimately to the spiritual goal is described here. There are various activities in Krishna consciousness, and all of them will be described in the following verses. But for the present, just the principle of Krishna consciousness is described. A conditioned soul entangled in material contamination is sure to act in the material atmosphere, and yet he has to get out of such an environment. The process by which the conditioned soul can get out of the material atmosphere is Krishna consciousness. For example, a patient who is suffering from a disorder of the bowels due to overindulgence in milk products is cured by another milk product, namely curds. The materially absorbed conditioned soul can be cured by Krishna consciousness, as set forth here in the Gita. This process is generally known as yajna, or activities, sacrifices, simply meant for the satisfaction of Vishnu or Krishna. The more the activities of the material world are performed in Krishna consciousness, or for Vishnu only, the more the atmosphere becomes spiritualized by complete absorption. The word Brahma, Brahman, means spiritual. The Lord is spiritual, and the rays of his transcendental body are called Brahma Jyotir, his spiritual effulgence. Everything that exists is situated in the Brahma Jyotir, but when the Jyotir is covered by illusion, Maya, or sense gratification, it is called material. This material veil can be removed at once by Krishna consciousness. Thus, the offering for the sake of Krishna consciousness, the consuming agent of such an offering or contribution, the process of consumption, the contributor and the result are all combined together, Brahman or the absolute truth. The absolute truth covered by Maya is called matter. Matter dovetailed for the cause of the absolute truth regains its spiritual quality. Krishna consciousness is the process of converting the illusory consciousness into Brahman or the Supreme. When the mind is fully absorbed in Krishna consciousness, it is said to be in samadhi or trance. Anything done in such transcendental consciousness is called yajna, or sacrifice for the absolute. In that condition of spiritual consciousness, the contributor, the contribution, the consumption, the performer, or leader of the performance, and the result or ultimate gain, everything becomes one in the absolute, the Supreme Brahman. This is the method of Krishna consciousness. Deep passage for sure. A lot to but just what I can glean on is sort of to make that distinction between what is Brahman, what is Maya, and the fact that even in Maya has an element of Brahman in it. It's just one layer where it's covered with, they say, like illusion, and that creates matter or just material nature itself. And it's trying to show you that the way of Krishna consciousness involves multiple sort of steps, but at the end of the day, like in this part where it says spiritual consciousness, contributor, contribution, consumption, like each and every aspect of that is ultimately ordained to Krishna consciousness and to go back to Godhead itself. That's what I glean from this message. Anybody else? Any thoughts?
So like, I just related to us, like in general when we work, what's the thought process that comes in our mind while we working? We work to get something.
What am I gonna get from this?
Yes. How much money can I get out of this? If I'm if my friend, let's say someone asks you to come somewhere, we think about what we are gonna gain by going over there, and then that's when I take the decision that whether I'm coming, whether I'm not coming. That's what technically matter of Maya is, isn't it? Like we are basically what we are trying to do is we are trying to gain something out of something. Every thought process, every action that we do, every process that we take throughout the day, it's just us thinking about what we can gain, and that's where everything starts, right? So if I don't gain that particular thing that I got from there, that's where the problems arise for me. That's where my unhappiness is coming from, and that's what I understood. And based on the yajna reference, I understood is like that people perform yajnas. We each perform yajna, but what is yajna? Let's say, is it just burning of something? Is it no? It's the brain's process of letting go, letting it in, letting the of us providing our offerings to
A
God.
sacrifice.
Tapas is part of it, right?
Yeah. So it's that at the end of the day we are so enamored by the material world, of the stuff we can get, of the stuff we can get our hands on, of what we want to hold on to ourselves, and at the end of the day we fight for it as well. Let's say tomorrow one of our friends breaks something of us. Let's say he just breaks even a trivial thing like glass or a wooden stick or something. That's when we are like, don't you understand anything? We cuss out, we swear. That's what the problem is with. That's what I understood is, it's the material world that binds us to this plane. Attachments.
Right.
The attachments to several materials, the attachments to be grounded by them, to hold on to them, to fight for them, and that's what I understood is like, the moment we start letting it go, the moment we start releasing it, we start, use the word cleansing and detaching ourselves from here.
Yes.
And that's where we can actually see the purpose of our karma.
Yes.
You know, aham mameti.
Sorry?
Aham mameti.
Ahamamiti?
Mind, I am mind.
Oh,
Mind.
yeah. So
That's what you're trying to lose.
And I really like that what you spoke about yajna as, so for any like festival that we have or any religious holiday, it's always prescribed that you give up on something. People, would give up on something that they really like, maybe a food article or whatever, and that in itself is also a yajna. Because when you think about yajna, the first thing is like you see like a priest throwing stuff into like a fire,
Burning
or
rice
whatever.
or
That's the
whatever,
first thing that
burning
comes in
tea,
your head.
right.
But like anything that you do, like sacrificing your own likings and desires, that itself is also a yajna. And the whole thing about, again, material attachment, like it's crazy that we believe that we, again, now as Krishna conscious people, we already ascertain that there is a soul and we are the soul, not the body, right? But then even on a level of soul that Maya can affect you, so this is just an example. I believe this is applicable to every religion whatsoever, but there's a Nigerian friend of mine who was talking about, he belongs to a tribe called Yoruba, which is the main dominant tribe in Nigeria, and he told me that when a person dies, that some of them still stay back, and like they can be like the most happiest person, whatnot, but some of them still stay back for even attachment to a single article. It might be like a gold watch or whatever, like the guy owned in his life, and his soul remains back because he's still attached to the gold watch, right? And so, and for any place for that matter, you talk about a place where it's haunted, like people talk, it's called haunted, it's like a house or whatever. The person who's haunting that house must have been like the owner of that house. And he goes to attach to the fact that he
My
has
house.
this place to stay. This is my place, and nobody else is going to come here. So anyone comes here, I'm going to disturb you. He's still there, you know. So like even on like a level where you're already dead, but you're still attached to stuff in the material world, and you just end up staying back.
So, okay, yeah.
So it's so strong that it affects you in the afterlife as well. And yeah,
It's true.
it's the ultimate thing to give up. Like the whole thing about samadhi as well is giving up material nature. Yeah.
The only attachment that I think is correct is to our karma. The moment we start attaching ourselves to our duties, at the end of the day, is when we understand why we are doing it. It's at the end of the day, I know it's practically impossible for us to do that. At the end of the day, whatever we do, we are trying to do it for the fruit of it, for the
Yes.
end gain of it. That's the thing. Everything, every action, every reaction we give, anything we do at the end of the day, it's just for that fruit. And the moment we start getting attached to that fruit instead of the duty, to the action that goes towards it, that is the moment that we actually surrender ourselves to this mortal world, and that's when we lose everything. The fruit, it might not be as sweet as we like. We might think that we have worked way harder than the sweetness of the fruit I'm getting, and that's when our karma gets affected. Because the next time we do the action, which might be a duty, it might be a karma. Like as a student, next time, let's say I'm studying one day, the study doesn't actually come up as much as the marks that I want. I don't get them. I get a slightly lower grade. What will I start doing? I might start using some other thing like ChatGPT, AI models, everything, just to cover that studies part. And then I'm attaching myself to that. I'm not letting go. That's how we start going down that negative road. It's just the fruit, the expectation and the fruit. That's the two things that I got from this. I remember 4.18 talked about expectations, and now it's talking about the fruit that we attain from it. So that's how we are actually under. So from this entire passage, from there to right now, it accumulates in this passage. So here we started talking about detachment, about samadhi, about yajna. Before this, we talked about in the last time discussions, we talked about knowledge. We talked about the fact that why knowledge is necessary, why acting upon your own karma is necessary. That's how it's starting to accumulate for us. We are learning about why we should detach from expectations, why we should detach from the fruit of the expectation, and that's how it accumulates towards it. That's how we attain that level of Krishna consciousness in us.
Right.
We might, as a practical students, as practical people, we might not be able to get to that level. But that's even the line in the puppet right now, that the soul purifies as it starts moving towards that point. We can start on that path at least.
Sure. Like I mentioned the last time as well, that like most of the stuff that we read, probably like 90% we're not practicing at all once we get out of this room. But it's more about being reminded in every single time, every single birth for that matter as well. You having Krishna consciousness in this birth means you were connected to Krishna in some way in your previous birth as well.
Step towards.
It's a step.
The light is a step towards
And
the
so
light.
it's more of a way in which you're just reminded about aspects of it. It's just trying to remind your soul, and at any point of time you might just stop living that kind of life. You know? So you need to keep being reminded. Like if you're a kid and your parents like yell at you, you make a mistake and you're gonna do it again, and your parents yell at you again or correct you again. They keep correcting you as much as time is needed, but eventually it's gonna sit in your head that I shouldn't be doing this. So that's pretty much how it is. Yeah. But yeah, we don't like that was a really good summary, so appreciate that. Kavya and Veda, we're on 425.
I think we didn't do 420.
We didn't do 423.
Last week.
That's fine. I think we just continue to Prabhu, would you like to do 425?
Sure. Daivam eva pare yagnam
Devam eva parayana
yoginaha puryupasate
yogino paripasate
brahmagnav apare yagnam
brahmagnav aparayana
yagne naivo parjovati.
yagnevo parjavati.
That's a good one. Translation. Some yogis perfectly worship the demigods by offering different sacrifices to them, and some offer sacrifices in the fire of the Supreme Brahman. Purport. As described above, a person engaged in discharging duties in Krishna consciousness is also called a perfect yogi or a first-class mystic. But there are others also who perform similar sacrifices in the worship of demigods, and still others who sacrifice to the Supreme Brahman or the impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord. So there are different kinds of sacrifices in terms of different categories. Such different categories of sacrifice by different types of performers only superficially demark varieties of sacrifice. Factually, sacrifice means to satisfy the Supreme Lord, Vishnu, who is also known as Yagna. All the different varieties of sacrifice can be placed within two primary divisions, namely, sacrifice of worldly possessions and sacrifice in pursuit of transcendental knowledge. Those who are in Krishna consciousness sacrifice all material possessions for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, while others who want some temporary material happiness sacrifice their material possessions to satisfy demigods, such as Indra, the sun god, etc. And others who are impersonalists sacrifice their identity by merging into the existence of impersonal Brahman. The demigods are powerful living entities appointed by the Supreme Lord for the maintenance and supervision of all material functions, like the heating, watering, and lighting of the universe. Those who are interested in material benefits worship the demigods by various sacrifice according to the Vedic rituals. They are called Bhav Ishvaravadi, or believers in many gods. But others who worship the impersonal feature of the Absolute Truth and regard the forms of the demigods as temporary sacrifice their individual selves in the supreme fire and thus end their individual existence by merging into the existence of the Supreme. Such impersonalists sacrifice their time in philosophical speculation to understand the transcendental nature of the Supreme. In other words, the fruitive workers sacrifice their material possessions for material enjoyment, whereas the impersonalist sacrifices his material designation with a view to merging into the existence of the Supreme. For the impersonalist, the fire altar of sacrifice is the Supreme Brahman, and the offering is the self being consumed by the fire of Brahman. The Krishna conscious person, like Arjuna, however, sacrifices everything for the satisfaction of Krishna, and thus all his material possessions, as well as his own self, everything is sacrificed for Krishna. Thus he is the first-class yogi, but he does not lose his individual existence.
Just one thing that I can glean from this is the difference between somebody who sacrifices, like, again, like materially, as in like, I'm gonna give up on rice, I want something else in return, versus somebody who gives up on like the body itself materially to, I'm gonna worship Krishna using this body and I don't care about like material
Doesn't
existence.
matter what I really get.
I want to get to you.
Right.
And so that's like the distinction that's made between the two.
Right,
That's what I
right.
can think of.
Yeah, the impersonal is still looking for some sort of like self-gain or whatever, personal gain.
I guess where it attaches is, so I'll give an example of, I'll take myself as an example for this. Recently I went through Paryushan, so to people who don't know, Paryushan is basic, I'm a Jain, so during like particular 8 days, we Jains do not eat anything that is grown under the ground, that is a green leafy vegetable, that sort of stuff. So I'll say 60% of at least the newer generation, 60% of the newer generation, whenever anyone asks us like, what is Paryushan? Like somebody who hears from outside, he's not going to understand why I'm giving up on this stuff. Somebody who looks from the outside, to them it looks like, yeah, they are just giving up on food for a while. And that's the answer even I give to many people when I'm asked. But the actual reason behind that is, it's not about letting go of this stuff, it's about letting go of the emotional burden that you have, the emotional stuff that you hold. It's letting go of the anger that was inside you, the pain that someone else might have caused, I am letting that go. and it's those 8 days of penance. So indirectly, that I can attain to understanding of letting go of the mortal emotions, the negative seven vices that we call them. I'm letting them go. I'm trying to gain myself to that new level, and that's how I'm attaining the consciousness. It's not direct. By no means is it direct, but it's even though indirectly, I think that attaches to Krishna consciousness I'm because essentially you're letting go of stuff that is holding you back. It's causing you pain. It's eliciting the negative emotions, and that is again leading to my vikarma or negative karma that I'm binding on myself. So that's how I'm understanding the concept over here. That at the most I understand is about how something is very fulfilling for you when you're doing it in Krishna consciousness, when you're doing it out of love for someone. And another example that I will take over here is a mother. Like we are far from home as students. When we go back, when we plan to go back to our country, while going from here, the thoughts that we have is, okay, I'm going to go there, I'm going to eat this stuff, I'm going to go out and eat this stuff. But honestly, when is the most satisfaction that you gain? When you're sitting at your home and your mother cooks for you. At the end of the day, that is the most satisfaction we are getting. Why is that? It's because she cooks with that much love. And that's what the purport tells us is to let go of all this stuff with that much love for Lord Krishna and everything. Because to go through him, if you go through some other god is like Indra, Surya, you're going to get those minor stuff quicker, maybe. Like if we look at our Vedas and everything, we can see that the people who actually worship Lord Krishna, none of them were ever turned evil. But on the other hand, the people who are who used to worship Lord, let's say Lord Shiva, how many of his boons were misused by these asuras? And how many times Lord Krishna or some other god had to take an avatar on earth to stop them? That's the point. That the bhakti that we have for Lord Krishna, it's just plain, it's simple, it's divine, and it's basically untainted. The only way you can gain him is untainted love for him, and that's what it tells us. That if you go through any other god, there might be taint in you, and the god, and even despite that, the god might accept you. But when you go through Lord Krishna, it's going to be untainted, and if it is only going to be untainted, that is the only time that he's going to manifest for you. That is the only time he's going to get you in.
Oh, that was really deep. I just got lost in that conversation. But when you mentioned about parents and stuff, I started thinking about my parents. You know, like I miss them a lot. It's been more than a year since I've seen them. So yeah, I was thinking about that. But just in general, like you said, like unconditional love is what you're trying to talk about. Like what Krishna has for you. Whatever you do in life, even the most you could be like the most messed up human being as well, but like Krishna still loves you. And to think about it, that I may be wrong by the way, but remind me, but like the demons that show up in the avatars of Vishnu in general, were they angels of the Lord, and then they chose to be like demons so that they take lesser births and then come back or something? I don't know, I'm not too sure about
Like
that.
Ravan,
Ravan and yeah.
So they were the gatekeepers of Lord Vishnu's abode, and they didn't identify a group of Brahmins who were like unconditional lovers of Krishna, and they denied them the entrance to their presence.
Okay.
So that's when Lord Vishnu cursed them that you two will take birth on earth, and you have two options. Either you take 3 turns against me, where I'll be the one killing you, or you can spend 7 lives worshipping. But they loved Lord Vishnu so much, like they wanted to be back with him as quick as possible.
Right.
So they chose that we'll actually be against you for those
right.
times.
So like the point that I was hitting at was the fact that they when we read the story without any context to it, and you see Robin or you see the other person, like okay, like these people are messed up, you know, like they're demons and whatever.
Cops just killing all these kids all the time, like.
Sure. But like when you know the backstory of it, okay, like these people really chose to be evil so they could get back to Krishna even faster.
A lot of the curses had like secret bones, you know, hidden in there. Like,
Right. Or even if you talk about like Christianity and like Lucifer was an angel, and
fallen angel, yeah.
he actually was like he loved the Lord so much that for some reason I don't know the whole context, but he decided to come to hell for something, right? But it was out of his love to God. It's so yeah, it's just giving you context. But I'm just talking about like unconditional love or like true devotion.
Mhm.
You know, like you can take any path in life, but like your soul goal is to just get back to Krishna, right? So
The demigods are always trying to go to Vrindavan.
well, it's the same with like love in the material world versus love in the spiritual world. Like love in the material world is pretty much you love somebody because they're giving you something,
Mhm.
or you know, there's still going to be some sort of you're looking for something. You're not just
I mean, we associate Ravana as a Asura, the king of Asuras. But at the end of the day, we forget some stuff about him. He was a Mahagyani. He knew a lot. He knew that much that Lord Rama sent his brother to get knowledge from him when Ravana was dying on the battlefield. He knew, and the reason for Ravana taking that in that particular timeline was, if we go bit back, the Devas had defeated the Asuras, and that's when the ahankar of Devas had increased exponentially. Indra Dev and every other god was literally like so arrogant, and Ravana comes in that time. He comes up, and that was the balancing factor that was needed. You can never have too much good and too much bad, because then the good might start turning bad, and that's was like even stuff that helps us out. Let's say we say that too much of something is going to be poison. Medicines. Too many medicines are poisonous for you as well. So imagine if the Devas started turning evil, then who's going to save the world? That's when Ravana had to come in. He had to balance them out. He did bad up until the point but like in general, I don't remember incident, but before the Haran of Mata Sita, do we know any evil deed, like pure evil deed that Ravana did? I don't think so. Like nothing comes to mind. It was the Haran of Mata Sita that was a staging ground for his to show that yeah, he might be the balancing factor, but he is evil as well.
right. And the thing about too much of good is bad. Again, I don't know the whole story correctly, but I think this is at the end of Dwapara when Krishna is about to pass away, or right before he passes away. Like maybe not the exact same day, but there's a guy and Krishna's in the forest. There's a guy that's there, and Krishna points him to a mother cow and her calf, and this cow is licking her calf to
Too much.
such an extent that the calf is bleeding, but like the cow just continues to go on licking the calf. And the main thing was that in Kali Yuga, like too much of like affection or love, or in a way that it starts damaging you, you know. So you get spoiled to an extent where, like, yeah, that's sort of like a hint to.
I love ice cream, but if I eat 2 gallons of ice cream,
Sure.
I'm probably not going to feel real good.
Associated to the fact that before that yuga, the mothers used to actually send their kids away to learn. Like Pandavas and Kauravas were sent to Guru Drona. They were spent in exile. Even when they were in exile, Kunti Mata never tried to shield them. She used to give them the opportunity to go through it. She sent him to kill Bakasura. She could have literally saved her child, but she knew why that must be done. And the thing that it associated to was that in Kali Yuga, the mother's love will grow so exponentially that she'll try to shield her child from everything, and that's how the love becomes a vikarma instead of it being an akarma, because she's trying to shield him from everything, but in future when the need rises for him to stand up on his own feet, that's going to be difficult for her.
I didn't understand the story of like when you're mentioning true love of 2 cows, like basically calf and
I meant in the sense, okay, maybe love is not the term I should use over there, but more in the sense that, like what Vedant said, like you take care of somebody so much to an extent that you start damaging them, in a way that they're not exposed to anything else in this world.
From the Bhagavatam, there's a story
Yes.
Okay.
where Krishna sees a cow licking her calf.
And because of that,
Well, he's licking
cow-
the cow's licking the calf to an extent so much that it's bleeding. You know, like normally, like a cat or a cow, they'll lick each other cleaning, like
They'll
they're
groom
nice,
each
you
other.
know.
Yeah.
But she kept doing it, even though it was hurting the calf.
So that's what I meant. But like love, I don't know in terms of actual use of there, but more about
Yeah.
Anyways, let's move on to the next one. Vedant, you want to do the next one?
26.
Stotra dindriyanya anye
Stotra dinindriyani anye
sayamagnishu juhit
Samagnishu jugate
sabdadin visayan anya
Sabdadin Vishayanya
indragnisu juhavati.
Indriyanishu jugate.
Some, the unadulterated brahmacharis, sacrifice the hearing process and the senses in the fire of mental control, and others, the regulated householders, sacrifice the objects of the senses in the fire of the senses. The members of the four divisions of human life, namely the brahmachari, the grihastha, the vanaprastha, and the sannyasi, are all meant to become perfect yogis or transcendentalists. Since human life is not meant for our enjoying sense gratification like the animals, the four orders of human life are so arranged that one may become perfect in spiritual life. The brahmacharis, or students under the care of a bona fide spiritual master, control the mind by abstaining from sense gratification. A brahmachari hears only words concerning Krishna consciousness. Hearing is the basic principle for understanding, and therefore the pure brahmachari engages fully in harar namanukirtanam, chanting and hearing the glories of the Lord. He restrains himself from the vibrations of material sounds, and his hearing is engaged in the transcendental sound vibration of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Similarly, the householders who have some license for sense gratification perform such acts with great restraint. Sex life, intoxication, and meat eating are general tendencies of human society, but a regulated householder does not indulge in unrestricted sex life and other senses gratification. Marriage on the principles of religious life is therefore current in all civilized human society, because that is the way for restricted sex life. The restricted unattached sex life is the kind of a yagya, because the restricted householder sacrifices his general tendency towards sensual gratification for higher transcendental life. So, of the glimpse of it, we now understand the four divisions of human life that enamor the brahmachari and the grihastha, the vanasprastha, and sannyasis, who are all meant to become perfect yogi. The brahmachari, I can understand, is like someone who is completely inclined towards Lord Krishna. Like all he wants to hear, all he wants to speak about is Lord Krishna. That's his unattached love to Lord Krishna, that he doesn't care about anything else in the world. And I guess we have had some great examples of brahmacharis, like not necessarily attached to Lord Krishna, but they had given up on the mortal life, mortal realm, to attach themselves to stuff that other people hold on to. Like the one brahmachari that comes to my mind is Bhishma Pitama. Lord Hanuman. Lord Hanuman is one of the is unattached to anything else. Only thing he chants is Rama, Rama, Rama. Why? Because it's his untainted love for him. It's his understanding towards him. That's why Lord Hanuman is considered as one of the brahmacharis. He is not attached to the mortal realm in any way. And the other person that we mentioned over here, I forgot the. Sorry. Yeah. So the other person they are mentioned over here, they have some liberations as opposed to the brahmachari. They are allowed to take wives. They are allowed to do some certain stuff that the brahmachari would never do. But through that, they are to come to a certain transcendental level to understand, to get meaning to their lives in future, right? And that's the difference that we can see today. Like in general it mentions sex life and everything, but in today's back then people were restricted. It was to have kids, it was to understand. Today it has become a form of sensual gratification. We want to experience that, we want to get that particular high, particular dopamine hit for that particular moment. But in general it is not through any positive emotion like love or something. At the end of the day we are associating it through either lust or through some sort of negative emotion, and that's where we have gone off track a lot. Like we need even through this, like if it is done in a proper way, because love for your opposite partner, there's Lord Krishna in everyone. Love to our opposite partner, devotion to them is also a part towards loving our own Lord. That's how we go through it. And when we do stuff, when we go down this dark rabbit hole, it's not going to be
easy. Yeah, like the whole sex life thing as well, where it was designed such that you get that much of a dopamine hit is because it's the rewarding feeling of continuing your species is what the sole reason why it was designed for. And now we have the hookup culture where it's just everything else opposite. But yeah, I agree. Anybody else has anything to comment on that? Or we can move ahead. I guess we'll move ahead. Let's see. What do you want to do for 27? For 27? Yes.
Sarvendriya karmani prana karmani chapare atma samyama yogagno juhvadi jnana dipite. Others who are interested in achieving self-realization through control of the mind and senses offer the functions of all the senses and of the life breath as oblations into the fire of the controlled mind. The yoga system conceived by Patanjali is referred to herein. In the Yoga Sutra of Patanjali, the soul is called Pratyagatma and Paragatma. As long as the soul is attached to sense enjoyment, it is called Paragatma. But as soon as the same soul becomes detached from such sense enjoyment, it is called Pratyagatma. The soul is subjected to the functions of 10 kinds of air at work within the body, and this is perceived through the breathing system. The Patanjali system of yoga instructs one on how to control the functions of the body's air in a technical manner so that ultimately all the functions of the air within become favorable for purifying the soul of material attachment. According to this yoga system, Pratyagatma is the ultimate goal. The Pratyagatma is withdrawn from activities in matter. The senses interact with the sense objects like the ear for hearing, eye for seeing, nose for smelling, tongue for tasting, and hand for touching, and all of them are thus engaged in activities outside the self. They are called functions of the pranavayu. The apana vayu goes downwards. The vyana vayu acts to shrink and expand. Samana vayu adjusts equilibrium. Udana vayu goes upwards. And when one is enlightened, one engages all these in searching for self-realization.
So I guess it's trying to is Patanjali yoga a thing? I think something to do with, I've heard from Balaramdev.
Yeah, the guy was like, he used to teach, his entire thing started with yoga being that he could spread yoga around, and then people saw business model in it and started all the medicines and all that stuff.
Products and stuff.
But the yoga which is mentioned over here, it is basically what has been mentioned to us from long back. Like even proper sitting posture is a form of yoga, and if we are not doing and from what I've read online and through some things that I've seen, yoga is actually something that can help you control all your senses as well.
Sure.
Like in terms of different emotions as well. Some people do feel lust at times, and there are certain mudras. I know one of them is called Hanuman Mudra, Hanuman Danda. That if you perform, it splits your energy because so in a body there's a lot of energy that goes through, and at certain points because of a thought process or the mind that it attaches itself to, those energies get focused throughout your body at certain points. Like sometimes even though we have ate like half an hour 40 minutes back, we start feeling hungry because we might have seen somebody eating something. That's when the energy starts being focused on the stomach. So it's that thing. So yoga essentially makes sure that your energy is spread evenly throughout your body, and that in turn helps you understand better. Like generally when we say we work out, after working out, if you start to study or you start to do something, you get a sense of clarity while doing it. It's because your body energy has been spread out that evenly. Throughout the day, the body energy keeps on going up, down through your body. But through yoga, we can control it. We can control our mind. We can control our senses. And that is again a way to prevent us from going through that sensual gratification thing.
Right. What I could glean from here is something on the lines of talking about the way you control your air and your breath work, that in its essence is Patanjali yoga, and something as subtle as controlling your breath work. How does that affect your life, and or how you could use that to help your life in a way? Is something that's described over here, because when people see it on a surface level, you see Baba Ramdev, for example. I feel like when I see him, like his stomach go in and out, I feel like he's crazy. You know, like from like when I look at it, but like it has so much more meaning, like to just the way you work your body, and just in general when you do intense like meditation, yoga, whatsoever, it revolves around just breath work. That something that subtle as that can like affect your life in such a way.
Yeah, so like there are different types of pranayams, breathing exercises. Like if you like people are trying to lose weight or try to balance their weight. So even through breathing exercises, like in meditation or the pranayama, we can generate the heat that will help the belly generate that amount of energy to burn the fats, and then we can achieve our goals. It's that simple and also that effective, which people usually miss out on. And then if you want to purify your what do you say, all your impurities inside the body, you can do it through breathing exercises, which people usually miss out. So there are 8 types of different. It's called Nari Shodhana pranayams. So yeah, through breathing out, in and out, controlled manner, people can achieve it. So it's like that. That's what Patanjali yoga usually help people attain, that kind of balancing.
Oh, Prabhu, you wanted to say something?
I was just going to say, what do they recommend when you get angry? Take a deep breath, count to 10.
Yes.
Why?
Exactly.
Because it works.
And so one of my homeworks from like I mentioned, OCD, is my therapist just recommends that I sit for like 2 minutes in a corner. And of course, I've told you with like a mind of OCD that you can't control your mind. I've told you, like, it's as good as you living out your real nightmares. It's just gonna keep running in your head 24/7, and you feel like it's real. But it's about, like, she would just tell me, let it all be there. Like, feel like you're gonna like die like the next second it's fine. Just sit into for 2
Leaves in a
minutes.
stream. Just watch the leaves flow by.
And she would tell me, like, just like again, like control your breath. Just just breathe in, breathe out. Let everything just come in your head, and it's fine. And it is very relaxing. And it more makes me feel like again, gives me that thing that okay, I'm in control over here. You can do whatever you want. But yeah, and that's just solely through breathwork itself.
You can control yourself. That's all you can control.
Yeah.
It's like when you're stuck in traffic and you're already late. When you freak out behind the wheel, like screaming, and does that get you there any faster?
Blow
Just
the
sit
horn,
with it.
like, get
Yeah.
out of my way.
Honking the horn, yelling at everybody, they're not gonna move. You gotta sit with it. Let it go.
I feel like yoga is also about union.
Well, the yoga means to use, right? To unite.
It's a way to connect with the supreme consciousness.
It's because like that I would say is because once you do yoga and you're able to control like your mind itself, you have more space to connect with the Lord.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just so distracted with everything else in your mind that like God has like no space in your head at that point. So that's pretty much how it helps you get in
You
your
also realize that you're not this mind and you're not this body, you're something beyond that. When you go into deep meditation.
And also serving something other than your own mind and your own
Yes.
body. Like when you're here looking at everything, going, everything is for me, and this is all mine, and I deserve all this. That's a very different perspective than this is all Krishna's, and I'm here to serve Krishna, and you're here to serve Krishna, and you're here to serve Krishna. It's very different. And when you know that Krishna's in every atom, and in every soul, it automatically changes your perspective.
Yeah, that also is one of the reasons like we touched upon this earlier, like when we brought about the topic of Ravana. Ravana did wrong because he was so caught up in his ignorance that he was greater than, like, say, Rama or others, that his opinion was what mattered, couldn't get out of his ignorance of his own
I
mind.
always think about, there's recordings of the Bhagavatam, and I think it was Ravana. They talk about when he was in the battle, he had the shield, and Indra's elephant like hit the shield and like exploded. And he's like standing there. He said that he's loitering in the middle of the battle, like just standing there going, ha ha ha, I'm so great, I'm so great. Next thing you know, boom, there's an arrow, he's done. As soon as you're sitting there going, I'm so great, you're done.
I got to know that there is yoga, like we were talking about yoga, right? There's a yoga club over here.
There is an actual
Yoga.
yoga club, yeah.
Huh?
The power yoga.
Power yoga.
Yeah.
Power yoga.
I discovered bhakti yoga because I was looking for power yoga.
Oh.
There are a couple people that have come here with mats. Thinking
Yeah.
we're gonna do all like
Asana or
asana
whatever.
and stuff. And I would just tell them, you're at the wrong club.
No, but we used to do that as well. Like Shikha was telling me, like some couple used to teach
Probably.
yoga.
Probably,
Some
yeah.
years back.
Oh, that's
Pre-COVID,
what the name
maybe.
Bhakti yoga?
Bhakti yoga is a chapter in the Bhagavad Gita.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chapter 12 is Bhakti yoga.
But that is exactly how I discovered bhakti yoga because I was looking for power yoga.
Does everyone do yoga, or like has anyone tried doing
I've tried to, but
I
what
do.
she does, yeah. With OCD, it's very hard to do yoga. At least sit in one
My
place.
father does it.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, yoga is not just sitting in.
No, sure. I mean, like the
Oh, yeah.
other
No,
stuff
I'm
is
just-
fine,
Yeah.
but like just meditation and like that being like I would say, like when you think about yoga, the first thing you think about is meditation, right? So
Actually, meditation is very.
a part of okay.
It's
Yeah.
not even part of yoga. It's more like meditation is one thing. If you focus on breathe, those are like breathing exercise, pranayama. Meditation is something separate.
Okay.
And like you mentioned OCD, right? You can just give it a try, like for doing 10 minutes or something. It gives you flexibility. That's the only.
Just
Wow.
demons that come out during those 10
It
minutes.
is. Well, I've tried practicing it for years. I've tried it for months together and stuff. It's just really hard.
Oh.
Yeah. But like I guess starting slow, maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes, that itself is also an achievement in a way.
Any step forward to step forward.
It's a step forward. Yeah.
I just add something to the shloka again. Something that I realized from this conversation was there are times when you do everything right, and at the end of the day you feel like lost. There are times that it happens to everyone that we think we are doing everything right and we feel like we are just lost. We don't know what to do. Why are we doing this? And that is the time when this stuff becomes so important. Like to just doing like 10-15 minutes of yoga, 10-15 minutes of this exercise, and our brain clears out that fog. It makes us understand, yeah, maybe the result hasn't come. Maybe right now what you're doing, you need to continuously do this because it's your duty to do it. And then just don't worry about it. It will happen.
It's easy to get caught in the small picture instead of the greater picture.
And that's where the yoga, the something to actually lift the shroud from our senses.
It would aid you in trying to get to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like this is just so liberating. And each new shloka teaches us something new. And I don't know about what actually this particular chapter is about, like how to chapter is bhakti yoga. I guess this is from all the shlokas that we are reading through this, it's just about liberation. Liberating you from the senses, liberating you from a gratification, liberating yourself from all the worldly attachments and stuff. It's to get us ready to get to a new level, to understand a new level.
I like to give it the analogy of sleep, where in sleep there's like you don't feel either happy or sad, but you're so much at ease. Like that in itself is like a little touch of salvation, right there. Like like that's like liberation in a way, liberation from yourself altogether. And you now want to go like when you sleep and you wake up, you're like, oh, I want to sleep again. It's just you're just so rested at that point when you have nothing to think about. And I feel like that, like the angle, but that salvation is like eternity of that same feeling, probably even more. So yeah.
I thought this was the dream. We're in the dream now.
We're in the dream now.
Life is but a dream. This is only a quarter of what's really going on, right?
Right.
The spiritual world is 3/4.
Right.
This is nothing.
And this is a little away from what we've been talking about, but like the whole thing about like you're lost. You can be doing everything right, but you're still lost. And also sometimes like things just don't work out for you, as much as you try it. There's also a grace in sitting through that distress and that anxiety.
Just like the boon with the curse with the boon. And
It's like if you've noticed that if you're ever in a situation and you try and run away from your emotions, it holds on, it becomes even stronger. But when you sit there, just sit through it, like it can be like sad, depressing, whatever it is, but just sitting through it is a grace in itself that makes you feel a lot better after that.
the caterpillar won't become a butterfly if
Sure.
it doesn't make a cocoon and
Yes.
hide out for however long it takes.
And like again, like the analogy of like nothing working out, like to you to get to like your end goal in life is not a straight path. There's going to be a lot of detours, but that's the end would lead you to where you're supposed to be. It can be depressing, it can be happy, but there's always a detour. And so again, just tread through that when you get there. Okay, so maybe let's do one more, and then we'll go right after that. Bhavya, do you want to do this one? 428.
Dravya yajnas tapo yajna. Yoga yajnas tatha pare. Swadhyaya janana yagna ka. Yatayaha samisita varataha. Having accepted strict vows, some become enlightened by sacrificing their possessions, and others by performing severe austerities, by practicing the yoga of eightfold mysticism, or by studying the Vedas to advance in transcendental knowledge. Purport: these sacrifices may be fitted into various divisions. there are persons who are sacrificing their possessions in the form of various kind of charities. In India, the rich mercantile community or princely orders open various kinds of charitable institutions like Dharmasala, Anakshetra, Atithitsala, Anathalya, and Vidyapitha. In other countries too, there are many hospital, old age homes, and similar charitable foundations meant for distributing food, education, and medical treatment free to the poor. All these charitable activities are called Dravya Maya Yagna. There are others who, for higher elevation in life or for promotion to higher planets within the universe, voluntarily accept many kinds of austerities such as Kandrayana and Katurmasya. These processes entail severe vows for conducting life under certain rigid rules. For example, Katurmasya vow the candidate does not shave for 4 months during the year, July to October. He does not eat certain food. He does not eat twice in a day or does not leave home. Such sacrifice of the comforts of life is called Tapomaya Yagna. There are still others who engage themselves in different kinds of mystic yogas like the Patanjali system for merging into existence of the Absolute, or Hatha Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga for particular perfections. And some travel to all the sanctified places of pilgrimage. All these practices are called Yoga Yagna, sacrifice for a certain type of perfection in the material world. There are others who engage themselves in the studies of different Vedic literatures, especially the Upanishad Vedanta Sutras or Sankhya philosophy. All of these are called Swadhyaya Yagna or engagement in the sacrifice of studies. All these yogas are faithfully engaged in different types of sacrifices and are seeking a higher status of life. Krishna consciousness, however, is different from these because it is direct service of the Supreme Lord. Krishna consciousness cannot be attained by any one of the above mentioned type of sacrifice, but can be attained only by the mercy of the Lord and his bona fide devotees. Therefore, Krishna consciousness is transcendental.
I like how you list a bunch of yognas and they're like, do whatever you want, you're not gonna make it.
I was thinking like, okay, this might be like, okay, this is how we attain perfection,
Sure.
but no.
No,
It just takes longer. I mean,
it just takes longer. Yeah,
we'll all get there eventually.
sure. It's like you can do all you want, but unless Krishna blesses you, like
Yeah,
keep trying,
no
but
mercy.
you know, like keep working, you're not gonna make it. Yeah.
Actually, it's really running.
So basically, like we have to go through different births to get like that Krishna consciousness, and maybe we are not achieved. At least I think I haven't achieved it so far.
So it's again like you can make that assumption about yourself, but you never know. You know, you're just still in college, and like maybe a later part of life you'll just choose a different lifestyle altogether. So yeah, definitely interesting, and I feel like this is very self-explanatory. It just talks about different yagnas, and I don't think we need to delve into all of that. But just in the end, that like you could try anything.
You can do them all if you want to, but
You can do them all if you want to, but unless you're blessed by the Lord,
Yeah, it's just
you're not gonna make it. Yeah.
worship the Lord and you're okay.
By actions and as well as devotion, right? I think both is what we can achieve that.
have the devotion, a lot of times you can do the action easier because you have the devotion. So
I feel like you'd naturally be put in a lifestyle where you would be doing actions for
Yeah.
Krishna if you
or
have the
as you
devotion
natural,
already.
you're not really doing
Right.
sacrifice. You're not
Sure.
doing this. It's just the way you live and the way it
But
is.
then, like in older yugas, like there were asuras, right? Like the
Mhm.
bad kings, like who used to like spend years devoting their life to Lord Krishna or any god, demigods,
To gain something.
to gain something. But then their actions were not good. But I feel that actions, it's towards like something in the mental state also, like what their karmas are. That will also decide at the end if they are getting Krishna consciousness. I think.
So again, we do talk about this thing where we're trying to run away from karma, but in the end, like absolve karma altogether, and that's how you go with Krishna and stuff. But to be in a sort of pathway of life that aids you in reaching Krishna consciousness, I feel like you need a certain karma that guides you to that position. You need
Karma
to live a
is your
certain type
guru.
of,
You can use it.
right. You can use karma to your advantage to reach a certain point in life, where then it just aids you in Krishna consciousness altogether.
Yeah, and if you're being Krishna conscious, you still have karma, but you're just kind of absolving it because you're dovetailing it
Yes.
in service, right?
I feel like it's also not hard. Just like I feel like everybody here is blessed.
For
Just-
sure.
Yeah, just for the opportunity that you all have there.
The fact that you guys
be
are
here.
here, the fact that you guys go to a temple, in general, like there's this saying that you can't go to a temple unless God calls you there.
Yeah.
So you can do whatever you want in life, but the fact that you get to go to a temple, be in the presence of so on and so forth, is that there is a reason for that, And I keep giving this thing where I've told this before. My parents wanted to go to Shirdi once, which is 7 hours from Mumbai, and they went all the way to Shirdi and like they couldn't get darshan to come back all the way. So unless you call, you won't get to be there.
Also, like, never discriminate yourself because I'm born this way or I'm like this. Like I did something. If you look at the example of Prahlad, he was an asura by birth, but he rose up above all there was because of his action. So it's very simple. You just have to consciously choose what is what is right and wrong.
Right.
Just choose the right one whenever you can,
And that's in a way where karma dictates a portion of your life, but there's also an element of free will, where
You
Krishna
get
is giving
every
the
time you
choice
get
to-
that chance to choose, there's your next chance.
Yes.
Right?
Right. That's what gives you like your individual identity in a way. You've made choices different from somebody else. That's why you live a life completely separate from somebody else. So there is an aspect of free will where you get to choose whether you want to try one path or the other. Whatever repercussions, whether good or bad, is up to you, what you decide. But karma is there, it facilitates things, it guides you, but there's also a small aspect of free will. And that holds your individuality, which is there in this as well, where that sentence of you are still your individual. Like you hold your sense of individuality based on the choices that you make.
That's like your karma is your individual, but then you have dharma, which you want to
Yes.
dovetail, which is what everyone should kind of, be focused more on, I guess.
Well, I think we could conclude over here. And I really like these kind of discussions as well, where it's a smaller crowd, but then you talk. Last time we had Mahabharata in that room over there. Right now we're having like a nice discussion. Either way, I like that as well because
Yeah.
everyone's jumping in at that point. Over here, also people are jumping in on a subtler note, but yeah. So, well, I appreciate all of y'all for all the discussions that you give. I definitely learn stuff every single time that we have these discussions. It could be as small as anything. I might not even remember it when I get out of this room, but at some point, I'll be taking a shower and I'll just think about something, So, yeah.
clicks at some point. It just clicks.
It will just click.
Maybe not right now. Like in the next 10 years, at some point, somebody might change their a bad action to a good.
Right.
By remembering this stuff.
Like, again, this is fantastic. Like, you guys have met Art Prabhu, right? The Mexican guy who comes here.
Oh, yeah,
and
Art.
he's like he's come for like quite a session. He was there a last session as well. He is Catholic, but then the sole reason why he comes here, or just is into Krishna consciousness, is when he was studying. He used to hear like the ISKCON people do the Hare Krishna bhajan and like walk on the street.
In
And he used to be
California.
like, yo, who are these people? Like, annoying as hell. But like at some point in time, he's like, okay, I want to like just research about this, get to know about this.
Yeah.
And now he's like halfway like believes in like just Krishna consciousness as a whole. Just by listening to annoying people, he's now getting that about life. So yeah.
That's why they do it.
My grandmother used to hear the Hare Krishnas on the street from where she worked
In Rochester, yeah.
Downtown
In
Rochester, right?
Yeah, the big building. My mother, so.
When there
his
used to be
grandmother-
sacred time downtown.
Yeah, because my mother called me one day and she goes, "Who are the strange people down in the street below my bank? All dressed weird and singing, you know." And she goes, "I know you know who they were." And at the time, I didn't, but I found out. I went down and talked to them because my friends were disappearing. It's like, where's everybody going? Oh, they're going to Buffalo because the temple was in Buffalo, but they would come to Rochester and do Harinam Sankirtan. So that's where I first heard it.
Mhm.
And at Woodstock, there was a bunch of devotees that went to Woodstock. But I had no idea what they were doing. They were just wandering through the crowd and clanging bills, and everybody's like, "Who are those people?" You know. So, but that's what it does. It just gets you. There was one young man, Amarish, that you knew that in San Francisco when he was a little kid. He heard the devotees Harinam, and he was with his mother, and they were in a crowd. It was like a festival or something. But he said he heard this bells, and he's like, "Oh." And he's only 4 or 5, so he let go of her hand. And then he disappeared, and his mother's freaking out. She finally finds him, and he's in the front of the crowd, and he's just like standing there. Thought it was so great. So then she said, "Come on, we gotta go home." She took him home, and it was when he was about 30, I think.
Late 20s.
He never thought of it again, but he went to college, he went to
about
UCLA,
that,
did the whole thing, never knew what was going on. And then all of a sudden one day he heard that noise again, and he, "What is that?" And it sent him to the temple, and he started the temple and became initiated eventually.
Right.
Yeah.
My parents, so I've mentioned this, that I used to go for Bal Vihar classes when I was a kid. So I went for like the Chinmaya Mission chanting competition for 8 years of my life, went in from chapter 6 to chapter 14. And so my parents used to always tell people, or just in general, that, you know, or like out of the 4 of us, that's my sister, my parents, and me included, that, you know, our son is blessed that he was able to associate with this, get to learn about all this and stuff. And at that point, I was thinking like, okay, like when they were kids, if you just knew what a Bal Vihar is, go search it up, just go enroll. It's as good as you also being in there. But just the place where you're at, the access to having that sort of a thing next to you is all ordained. Like there is something to that. So your association with anything for that matter there is something for you. So yeah. So if anything, what you said, that you don't feel like in this life you're gonna get that, but you're associating with Krishna, that itself is a blessing. So you consider yourself blessed in a way. Anyways, I went on a little tangent over there. My apologies. So let's do Narasimha prayers, and is Shikha coming today? She is. Alright. Namaste Narasimha